On today's episode, we have more reactions to the Nutcracker in the Four Realms, Bohemian Rhapsody, as well as Nobody's Fool, and another remake is coming up, this time with Shrek. Let's get started.
This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome, everyone, to Off the Break Podcast. I'm your host, Cody. With me, as always, my dynamic duo, Kyle and Eric.
Hello. Does my voice sound different?
It does.
sounds
With
sick.
the cold? Yeah, it sounds very sick, but it's like deeper, right?
I wish we could,
deeper.
now that you're bringing
Do I
it
have
up.
a radio voice now?
No. You sound nasally.
Congested.
Very nasally.
Sounds like I do most of the time. It's all nasally. It's
Well,
allergies, people.
Allergies, it's still Kyle, just a different voice today, switching things up.
I wish
I'm
we
still
could
here.
quarantine you somehow, like put up like germ shields.
Just a bubble around my little space.
I'm gonna have to like Lysol your mic after this.
I will more than happy to do that as well. That's not a sentence. I'm out. I've been out of it today. I apologize.
But I'm excited by your enthusiasm and dedication to this show.
Oh, yeah,
for
still
coming
here.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
best part of the day for sure.
I'm glad you're surviving.
Oh yeah, hanging in there.
Well, kind of a short show today. We are just talking about.
That's what we said last time.
That's
Yeah.
what we said last time.
But we actually don't have thumbnails on the notes, so we do actually have a short show today.
We'll see. I'm
Yeah.
still not gonna. After last
We'll see.
week's episode,
Yeah.
I'm not falling for it again.
We'll wait
Short,
and see.
damn it. No. So we're just going to talk about the films we saw over the weekend, kind of reactions and thoughts on them. And we can start out with, let's see. I don't have anything more to add to Nutcracker. Neither of you guys saw that. So I think last week's episode pretty much summed up.
Yeah, it didn't really make a whole lot.
No.
It was like, what,
Less
20?
than what
A
Disney
little bit
probably
under
wanted.
20 million or
Yeah,
something.
which
Yeah.
was still great for this time of year. It's just
But for Disney
underwhelming
standards?
for them. Yeah,
And I mean, it looked like a pretty expensive movie.
it was very expensive. And
They haven't released what the budget is, so it probably is expensive. But I just don't know the total amount unless you guys have heard anything else.
It has to be like 100, 150.
I think 152, something like that.
Yeah, I could see that being in the realm of possibilities. I'm so sorry.
Does
It's gonna be
Disney
rough.
have many films that are original, like Nutcracker?
No.
Like, would you say Christopher
Not
Robin
really
is
live
original?
action. Yeah,
No.
I mean, technically, but it's
It's
the
remaking on
characters are all
cartoon.
there, but the story
Yeah.
is original
I just,
for the most part.
It's original for Disney.
Yeah.
I feel like that maybe is the weakness in Disney's distribution.
Well, if
is
they're
that
not like remakes of their classic animated
Yeah.
movies,
can they?
it seems like they just
create
don't tend
original?
to be that notable.
Right. Can Disney create original content, or do they lack the creativity to bring something completely new to the screen?
I don't know if they lack it, but they have not displayed that in a while, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the creativity really comes from the director of something and how well it just comes out to be. And plus, I think marketing also plays a role in it. Because we've say many times, like nowadays, people just want to see whatever the big brand is, whatever the big
The
cool
major
brand thing is. And if
AAA
you,
tentpole.
yeah, and if it's not recognizable, then how can you market that to where everyone will go out to see it? So I think that plays a hand in
So is
Disney
it
struggling
just
with that.
expectations? Like, we just expect so much from Disney being as big as they are.
Maybe. Well, I mean, because
So this is such a mid-range entry for them, and we're just not
yeah,
used to
in
it.
any given year, they'll have like one or two quote unquote original live action movies amidst all of their Marvel movies and Star Wars movies, and those ones always are huge. And then when something like Nutcracker is, for their standards, a little underwhelming, I feel like people just kind of get more intense about it.
I thought Nutcracker was still really cute. I still really enjoyed myself at it. I had pretty low expectations, but overall it was cute and great, and could I have waited to see it not on the break. Yeah, probably didn't.
That's how I was with Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really charming, feel-good, great movie, but it's not something you have to rush out to the theater to see.
No.
It'll play just as great, if not better, just at home. I feel like that's just kind of the feeling people get from these non-Marvel Star Wars Disney movies.
But
so it does make me wonder how Mary Poppins will do.
That's an interesting point.
Because it's kind of like, I mean, it's a classic movie, but like we've talked about several times before, I mean, you never really see Mary Poppins in pop culture except for that Guardians 2 joke.
Oh man,
like
no
people,
kidding.
do people still think about it? Have they been excited for this? Beyond the like parents or older people who are like, I saw this.
Yeah, it makes me start to side with you more, Cody, on this because I thought it was going to have more of an impact. But I don't know, coming out of Nutcracker and then thinking about how Disney has been with like not their remakes, but their original quote unquote content. Like it makes me side more with you on how Mary Poppins will perform.
I feel like Mary Poppins is less original and more in the vein of a remake, though. Like they're sticking really close to
just
original.
Like, it's just like what Christopher Robin did,
Right.
like even more so probably because again, I'm assuming there's really only so much you can do.
Well, I think like
with a movie like that.
are taking certain sequences from the original and actually remaking them.
Sort of
with
like
the
a Force
animation
Awakens kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like a soft reboot with a lot of the familiar beats that were successful the first time around.
That continues the story. Yeah.
Yeah, that slightly continues the story. But I don't know. I didn't grow up with Mary Poppins. It wasn't something my parents were super excited about. I know that's hit or miss with a lot of people. Some of us in the room did grow up with it, and some of us didn't.
One of us did.
Yes, for sure.
So is it something I'm going to take my kids to? I don't.
Well, I'm also trying to think of all the other things that are coming out Christmas time.
Well, you're going to have... See, that's the thing. It's really the only all-around family movie. You've got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and then you've just got a lot of PG-13s. You've got
True, you got
Aquaman,
Bumblebee, Aquaman.
And Holmes and Watson will be PG-13, hopefully. Cross your fingers. If it's R, then...
Yeah, no, I guess that is a good
be.
point. So if families are looking for something to go see, that's kind of their only option.
Yeah.
Unless, they all want to... The parents and other people are like, yeah, new Transformers movie.
It'll kind of go back to the Nutcracker problem where it's like, yeah, it's a family film, but what family is really dying to go see the Nutcracker, Like, not very many. And with Mary Poppins, and this goes back to Cody's point where she harped on for a while, like, not everyone has that nostalgia for Mary Poppins as much as Disney thinks there is.
I've never really come across anybody.
Yeah, so I think that'll take a toll on Disney again.
I'm hoping it plays like Greatest Showman played over the holiday, where it just captures...
Just sticks around forever.
Yeah, but I think what Greatest Showman had that maybe Mary Poppins might not have was, while they both have musical numbers, I think Greatest Showman had that uplifting anthem song that people just really liked. Like, I don't want to downplay how much a good song in a film can really elevate a film higher than what you expect. And my biggest example is Skyfall. I think Adele's song playing over and over and over again on the radio forever and ever helped boost.
Oh, I'm sure.
That
especially
film.
Somebody as huge as Adele was.
We can make that same argument with Bohemian Rhapsody probably in a bit.
Oh yeah, I would totally agree.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Eric. What were you?
Only difference is, everybody already knows those songs.
True.
Also, Stars Born. That album has been number 1 on the Billboard charts.
Yeah, like 3 weeks or something now.
Yeah, and
since
I think
it came
adding
out,
to it,
starting to play on the radio too.
Yeah, I think it's adding to its like mystique of you've got to go see this film because these songs were in this film, and
it absolutely
Greatest
affects
Showman
it that way.
had that for sure.
Yeah,
and I don't know if Mary Poppins will have that.
This rousing, crowd-pleasing chant along with an anthem.
Yeah,
Mary Poppins or
that just
Emily Blunt is leading it.
She's there, fist pumping on stage.
Yeah.
Some epic sing-along, triumphant song about cleaning the house
if
or something.
Song about flying a kite is gonna be on the radio. I'm gonna be turning up mine. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like people will come away and just be like, that was sweet.
That was sweet. I'm glad we saw that on Christmas Day.
Yeah. So I don't know.
My mom.
I was never. I was never. I
That's
was
what
never.
my mom's gonna be.
I was
when
never
take
that
it.
optimistic about it, and
Right.
I'm only getting less. So I feel like I don't think it's gonna bomb or anything.
No, I want it to be good, and I wouldn't be
I'm
surprised
sure the
if
movie
it did
will be
well.
good too. I'm just talking purely
Right.
numbers wise.
But I'm bracing myself for it to maybe fall a little below expectations.
I think so.
Disney, you have to think that Disney must have some concern in the back of their mind that once or if the superhero craze dies, like they will just be kind of scrounging to.
I'm
get
sure
some
by
kind of
then
content. I mean, getting
they'll
Fox
figure
will
out
help,
that superheroes are on the decline and something else will be on the uprise, and they'll latch
buy
onto
it.
that. Yeah, they'll just
but, I
snatch
mean,
it up.
Yeah.
True, but
Like, okay, phew.
it'll still help them
These are
be.
ours now.
It still would probably hurt them in terms of success.
I mean, they were successful before superhero movies were the
Yeah.
biggest thing ever.
Yeah,
They've
that's true.
always,
You're right.
throughout their history, have been successful periods and then kind of lower periods
Mm-hmm.
followed by successful. And we're just in this like amazing renaissance period for them. But
Yeah, that's a good point too.
that's more of like a corporate strategy of buying already established amazing brands.
Yeah,
And
it's-
now,
like we talked
Yeah.
about many episodes ago, it seems like Disney, just by the nature of the properties it owns, it can just kind of sit back and
yeah.
let them market and perform themselves.
Yeah, there's that too.
And then when they do try and step in and do their own thing, we get things like the Nutcracker.
so you don't
Which isn't bad. I don't want to.
No, again, I'm talking
Yeah.
purely numbers.
just in terms
money,
of in terms of money,
how much money it makes.
you have to think like there might be some concern where they'll rethink that strategy.
It's like Disney. Maybe you're not that special. You just have a lot of money and you bought all the successful stuff.
Right.
Well, yeah. But anyway, it's some kind of concern that maybe they should think about.
I
Like
don't
in
think
terms
it-
of content,
Yeah.
like of original.
Well,
content,
what I'm more
quote-unquote.
concerned about is that when Disney sees things like this and they're looking at their slate and they're like temple, and oh, we're only tentpoles when we kind of got this one off that might not be so hot.
We
They're
got
like
the Nutcracker.
streaming,
Yep.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
you
that's
don't
true.
even get the opportunity to
See
introduce
those
in the theater.
one-off-
Yeah.
See if it can do anything, or
So I think that's what.
because it's always every movie is a gamble.
Yeah.
But if you take away those risks too and just dump those on the streaming, then
And nobody will ever know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
And I think Nutcracker was a perfect example of what their new streaming strategy is going to be, but
Yeah.
it was just too early and they had to get it out. But I don't think you'll see any moving forward. You'd be hard pressed to see any more Nutcrackers in the theaters.
Right.
Nutcracker and the 5 realms
In the 5 realms.
coming to the Disney streaming service.
Don't be shocked. I don't know. Maybe they won't.
The
but-
Mouse King returns.
Well, yeah, I mean that was sort of related to Nutcracker, I
Right.
guess. But the other movies,
Yeah.
we got Nobody's Fool and Bohemian Rhapsody.
I'll go through Nobody's Fool because
Yeah.
I'm the only one that saw that.
Give us the
I
rundown.
was super excited. I thought it looked so funny. So I rushed out and it was a Sunday afternoon in my little theater. And we're in like a rural area here. That's Silver Screen Insider Off the Break podcast is based in a rural area. I just want everybody to know. This
We're
is
not we're not big city folk.
No, this is
No,
not
definitely not.
an urban place. So I was not surprised when on a 4:45 matinee, I was the only one in the theater.
Which we were joking about. We said that was going to happen.
Right. And I go enough to our local theater that I got my free popcorn for my rewards and I got my free soda. So I'm like feeling really good.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. And then I walk in and it's in theater 1 and I don't like theater 1.
No wonder.
But I was okay with it. I was like, it's not that going to be that kind of movie I need.
Yeah, it's not Infinity War.
Yeah. So
Poor guy.
I made the most of it.
then I found my seat and was watching it. And I totally can watch a comedy by myself. I don't need the people. We kind of talked about this.
Yeah.
I laughed out
Oh yeah,
loud.
that's right. We did.
I hid my face at like the awkward moments. It made me feel uncomfortable. I totally enjoyed it. It is not the movie I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to go see a movie where Tiffany Haddish was going to track down these wannabe catfishers of her sister to try to find
Oh.
out who was the catfisher.
Yeah.
Right? That is not the film that it is.
Wow.
They know who the catfisher is pretty early on in the film, or they suspect. It's basically a story of of the sister Tanya, played, I can't remember the other girl's name. It's not Tiffany Haddish.
I can look her up.
No,
Yeah.
I forget.
But she's out there looking for love, has this romance online, and but really, love is right under her nose.
He was there all along.
In the form of Frank, the coffee shop owner that gives her free coffee and a rose every morning, doesn't make her pay.
Oh man, how did
Literally
you
a
ever see
prince.
that coming?
Oh,
Tika
no.
Sumter.
Yes.
That's her name.
Tika Sumter. So, so she has her sister, gets out of prison, and she has to so she introduces her sister kind of into her life in this routine, and everybody has an issue, obviously, with this online romance of a guy that she hasn't seen in a year and never met. And they're like, oh, you're being catfished. Well, it kind of leads you to believe that she is, but really he is real, but he is not the Prince Charming that she thought he was. It's okay. So it's more of a romance, a rom-com that ends up with she finds true love in the end. No spoilers there.
I am shocked.
Through some twists and turns.
It shocks me a bit that Tyler Perry missed a prime opportunity to do a cat and mouse chase on who her catfish guy was.
I wanted to see
I guess
it.
based on the trailer,
way better than just
than the movie we got.
finding out in the first act and then seeing her get true love. Like that,
right.
And especially with Tiffany Haddish and Whoopi Goldberg involved, like that would be
Whoopi Goldberg is not used at all, and she's high the whole time, but she plays it very airy. Like, no, they should have used her better, and she should have been high maybe occasionally, but she should have been that like thoughtful.
I thought
really
it was gonna be like a fun road trip movie with Whoopi, Tiffany Haddish,
no
and
road
Tika,
trip at all.
as they
Spoiler
go hunt
alert.
down those pigs.
Chris Rock makes a cameo in it.
Oh,
The
well,
love.
at least it has that.
He's the love, right?
The semi catfisher that they find. So you're thinking you're getting this like tall,
That's
dark,
actually-
and
okay,
handsome
that's
guy,
funny.
and you get Chris Rock. So
Oh my goodness.
the tall, dark, and handsome guy does exist, and he does come into the picture later on, which after she finally gives the guy that didn't have all of the check marks on her list a shot because he seems to really like her, then the guy with all the check marks comes back, and she's like, oh no, what do I do?
Seriously though, imagine a cat and mouse chase,
Yeah.
and then you find out the person behind it all was Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Like that's great. That's perfect, and
Right.
you missed it.
And you know,
then again, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't be
Right.
like that's so bad or that's so whatever.
No.
But that's such a missed opportunity.
I know. And then there's that scene in the trailer where she's like attacking the people at the wedding, like,
Yeah.
and she's in that like cape and stuff and biting the roses and throwing them at him. And I'm like, yeah, I can't wait for that scene. No, that's a throwaway scene at the very end of the movie. In fact, Tiffany Haddish's character comes back on screen when you think the movie's over and goes, sit your ass down.
Oh.
And I'm like,
God.
okay.
Oh,
And I
like,
sat back
sorry.
down.
Fourth wall breaking.
Yeah, and then I saw the one scene, and it just wasn't as funny as it could have been in the middle of the movie when he thought should have been on a road trip.
Tyler Perry tricks you every time.
Okay, then there
It's
was
like
one
M. Night
other
Shyamalan.
there was one
every
other
time.
issue I had with the film, and that was with the sex scenes.
Oh,
One of them made me feel very uncomfortable. I'll tell you why. There are 3 sex scenes in that movie. 3. The first one is Tiffany Haddish when she's getting picked up from prison, and she's getting plowed from behind in a white Bronco, and it is funny because she's like, "Hey, girl," she's like talking to him and stuff, and so it's
while it's happening.
while it's happening.
So they pick her
they
up
don't
with a guy?
stop. No, they don't take the guy. They just there's a whole joke about choking him out, and it's okay. He'll come back too. They all do, and so it's a funny.
Okay, that's funny.
It's a funny scene, and it's comedic sex, and so you're like, haha, this works with the tone of the film because it's all funny. All right, the third sex scene at the very end is also a comedic sex scene where the Prince Charming just turns out to not be that great, and that in a very funny scene. But the middle one where she finally decides to have sex with the love of her life that she wasn't going to give a chance was super sensual, like a real, like almost like a 50 Shades of Grey one where it was like camera angles and like really getting in and like not funny at all. And I was alone in this theater watching this like extremely sensual scene,
Big
and I
screen
was
sex.
so embarrassed.
You got uncomfortable
I got
watching
so-
a sex scene by yourself?
Yeah,
In the theater.
I felt a little voyeuristic.
I mean, I guess,
shouldn't be
the
seeing
person
this.
Well, I'm
who's
sure- I'm
running
sure-
the camera is
I'm
up
sure
there watching
compared.
too.
I'm sure compared to the first one, especially if that precedent had been set.
Yeah, it was the comedic precedent, and then all of a sudden it was like, bow chicka wow wow, and I was like,
Again, it's
Wow.
Tyler
Wait,
Perry
she
trapping
has
you. Like,
she
that's
has
good.
she has sex with the love of her life, but then she goes back to that
yeah.
stupid Prince Charming guy at the end.
Mm-hmm. Because she's really hung up on this whole concept of like, he's got to have all the check marks on my list. I don't
Oh,
know. It's
man.
dumb. It's a whole theme running through the
Wait
whole
till
So does
she
she-
finds out the truth.
So does she then have sex with Prince Charming
Yep.
guy, but then she goes back to the love
Yeah.
of her life afterwards?
And that's how the movie ends.
Oh.
She begs to be taken back. But yeah, I just was so uncomfortable. And it's sad because I was by myself and I'm not like a prude person. I think I would have enjoyed it. But I think I would have enjoyed it more if I knew that that's the movie I was going to. I felt a little like, I don't know, tricked at that point.
You've seen Tyler Perry movies, right? You've seen
Yeah,
some.
but
like
this-
that. None of that surprises me, at least. but-
Really? Like
yeah.
it was just if it was comedic and funny, then I think I would have like really enjoyed it. It
Yeah,
was
for
just
sure.
the tone was so out of context.
And,
like,
and maybe just the way it was edited was that it was out of place. I don't know, but for Tyler
Yeah.
Perry, like
I've never
he
seen
either
a Tyler
does
Perry
go
movie.
into like the sensual, romantic drama type of feel, or he goes into like the straight comedy routine as well. So like him combining the two is not really so much of a surprise to
oh,
me.
well, it was to me.
Yeah.
And
If
then
there-
Huh,
I was
well,
kind of glad that I was alone because I was like embarrassed that I was feeling awkward at watching this. And then I was so worried that one of the people would come in and check the door. You know how they have the door checkers? Because
Yeah.
that poor guy had to come in and check the back door and looked
Like,
at
oh,
me.
I'm fine just sitting
Yeah.
here watching my sex
you're like,
Just
you
scene.
wanna
me.
you wanna watch?
Yeah, by myself in the front row here.
Make it less awkward.
And then I was like, please don't come in during this scene. Please don't come in. Like I was sitting there being
Yeah.
in the dark theater by myself watching this extremely sexual scene going on.
If
on the screen.
nobody shows up for a showing, do they still play the movie?
Some theaters do. We always recommend to our clients not to do it so that they just save bulb life in the projector.
Oh.
But
That makes
it's
sense.
Not
Good call.
not a big deal. Sometimes they're just programmed and they just run, and
Yeah, I guess I always wondered that.
so some theaters do. I think if I hadn't been there, they still would have played that movie.
That's so weird. That's so weird that they would just play a movie but no one would watch.
Yeah.
Like no one would
It's
be
weird
there.
to think a movie could be playing, but no one's there watching.
I mean, it kind of
really
would just
sad.
be like having your
Mm-hmm.
TV on, but like doing chores. Like I guess it would be similar
If
to
you
that,
weren't
but,
in the
like,
house,
Yeah.
like you're at a different house doing chores while this movie's playing in your
Yeah.
empty house.
Or you're outside.
It's so sad. The movie's playing
you
for
left
no
it on
one.
for the cats. So yeah, I did enjoy the movie. I thought Whoopi Goldberg was way underutilized. She should have been.
I guess
a
I
bigger
should have
part of it.
figured that. It seems
Yeah.
like
Her
it
wig
was too good to be
terrible.
true. Like, Whoopi?
Yeah,
What?
I
It's like,
know.
no, just kidding.
She wasn't. Her character wasn't that great. She was okay, but the funny scenes with her are all in the trailer.
Yeah.
There's nothing added to that, and her wig is terrible in it and very distracting. You called that, Kyle. You knew the wig was going to be bad.
Yeah.
It was, but overall, decent. I liked it more than Night School.
Oh yeah.
I think it.
Oh yeah, that old thing.
Yeah, I think the R rating helped. I liked it more.
Cool.
So,
Well, then I guess
anyways,
I'll
that's
just.
my fun story. I don't.
Sorry you got uncomfortable.
I know.
I
I'm
still
really
have yet
actually,
to see a movie by myself. Like I've gone
Really?
there with
This
my
is the
girlfriend. We're the
second
only ones
time.
there, but like by myself.
Yeah.
I was just like sit in the dead center and just.
I took
sprawl
pictures of
out.
myself in the theater when that happens. I have to get a selfie and I like turn around. The screen is in the back.
Packed screening.
Yeah.
I used to not go to movies by myself, but I finally did one time. And
Yeah, me too. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. Like just to
love
be
it.
by yourself and just engulfed in the experience.
And you don't have to worry about where you're going to sit. There's always a seat.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So I used to make fun of people that did that, but then once I tried, I was like, I take it all back. Like
I
that
never
was
made fun
pretty
of it,
good.
but I always thought it would be really sad. And then I did it with
yeah.
Blade Runner 2049.
And
I
then
was
you're like, oh my god, I'm
this is
sad.
amazing. I love
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
No, you
no,
don't.
totally.
don't have to think that it has to be like a late show either. It can be 4:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And being alone.
Just you and Whoopi.
Yeah, why not? Okay, so we need to talk about Bohemian. some more,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
I guess. Yeah.
because Eric finally. Wait.
Well,
no.
Cody
Yeah.
saw it too.
I saw it
I can't keep
last
track of who
night.
saw what.
You were
Sorry.
the only one who saw it, and you gave us your quick initial.
Yeah, you saw
Right.
it the Thursday early show. Eric
Yes,
and I
I
saw
did.
it over the weekend.
Yes. Okay. Back. Okay. Same page. Got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I'm
Good.
part of the general crowd that enjoyed themselves
Mhm.
tremendously.
I thought it was fine.
Eric's like poop on it behind the scenes. Don't let
It's
him
just-
fool you. He's like, it was dumb.
With like a story, with a
was-
story as unique, or with a musician or artist as unique as Freddie Mercury, and the story as grand as Queen's story. I just felt like the movie was really kind of cliche and formulaic, and it kind of cheapened
It's
the story.
definitely.
It was fine. It was like incredibly standard, by the book biopic movie.
which is makes it a crowd pleaser, which helps
Yeah.
make it like good for everyone to watch.
I was actually kind of thinking a lot about that. Like, why was there such a disconnect between critics that were expecting such maybe more an in-depth and general audiences that really just obviously really liked the fact that it wasn't? And I was like, what was kind of the thing? And for me, I just actually liked that it didn't go too much into him, because I think his story has a really sad component to it.
Yeah,
And-
I wanted to
But
see
his
that.
music is so uplifting and all about, like, I don't know, being the outcast and celebrating that. And this was a music for them.
Yeah, no, I
And-
totally I agree, but that's why I
But I didn't
wanted
want to see
that.
the darkness.
I
just
did, because the juxtaposition there would make the music, like, it would add just another layer of, emotional power to the music. Like, you can
I
be
think it would
listening to
be-
it, and there'll just be like this kind of melancholy undertone, knowing where it's truly coming from. Because that's a lot more powerful to me than just Freddie Mercury was a musical genius who wrote really great songs.
I think
It's like-
I think they hinted enough at it that you knew it was coming from a sad, kind of lonely place.
I think
But
they hinted at this. They hinted at
yeah.
he's a tortured artist, but not
Mhm.
specifically. I feel like that's a cop out to do with,
I don't think you need
you
like
could say the same thing
Yeah.
about Elton John or David Bowie or Prince, all these people who
Right.
have passed. And you could say that, yeah, they were really great musicians, but they had darkness.
John
They had
hasn't
darkness.
I don't know. They
Well, yeah,
hinted
I
that
know.
he
Sorry, I
came-
just
Not
that
yet.
caught me off guard.
Not yet.
They hinted that he came from immigrant parents, and that
I know.
they talked about like his mouth being like all weird and the incisors and all that. Like, so that like he obviously felt like an outsider within his family because he didn't live up to what his father's ideals. He wasn't fully accepted in the normal job world. We called names.
No,
mean, it
again,
just-
I like the movie. I just
without
I
being
wanted,
in your face about it. It was there.
I wanted it to be like a, really unique movie in and of itself in the biopic kind of subgenre of
yeah.
movies. I didn't want it to just be a totally basic, generic, based on true events.
Insert rock star Exhibit A here.
Yeah, it's like he joined a band and then they got really big, but they had to go through a couple sleazy producers and drama along the way.
It seems
Yeah.
like people liked the biopic, well, because of the music, obviously, but because of what you were saying, Cody, is that they hinted at the stuff that was going on with his life, but it wasn't too deep within itself, that it got to focus on other parts of not just Freddie, but of the band in itself, and I think that's what they liked in general, and I guess the crowds just didn't need like this deep film that talks about everything about Freddie and explored a lot of what he was going through during his tenure with Queen, as critics were thinking that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I
think
just
think
felt like
that's a
the
good
movie
way to
was
sum
kind
it
of
up.
pandering, maybe. I don't know, like
Sure.
holding your hand. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I agree. I think there was this opportunity to have this really kind of neat, unique, in-depth, gritty, even grittier movie than what you were kind of hoping for. And I think what the majority of critics were hoping for, because of given the not only musical genius of him, but the tortured soulness and the things he went through. But I think for general audiences not getting that, it's still okay. It was still a good, solid movie in of itself. It just wasn't the movie it could have been.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But I still really enjoyed it, and I came away like just feeling like really pumped about it. And I know that in a lot of places, like a lot of rural locations, they were really worried about this film given the homosexual themes in it.
Yeah.
And I think by not playing to that and hinting to it a little bit, they hit to the line where it was acceptable to play in those places where everybody kind of knows that he was like that, but people never really had it in their face. I mean, he was big in the 70s and 80s. There wasn't the internet. There was maybe a few tabloids, but who really looks at that? So for a lot of people, it really is just about the music.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's also a good way to say it.
And they don't want their persons.
I just don't think those are necessarily mutually exclusive. I just feel like they, for a variety of reasons, they probably purposefully made a lesser movie in order to minimize.
Oh, I'm sure. And you know,
anything.
That's probably why a Freddie Mercury Queen movie has not been made.
Yeah.
Until this point, it's like,
because they've been stingy for years on.
There's been a lot of issues with estates, family members, things like that.
Members.
Yeah, wanting to preserve their legacies in certain ways, and
I'm sure,
you have to be respectful of that.
Like I was kind of talking about before, it just, if you think about it, it's easy for me to imagine before they even started making the movie, like just a bunch of people giving their input of even what sort of approach to take with this movie. Like, what do we talk about? What do we not talk about? How do we show this? And somebody's like, well, no, I don't think that. You have to make me happy. You have to please all of these different people, which is going to be impossible unless you just play it as safe as possible.
And I think that
I guess it's better than no Queen movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For somebody like Freddie Mercury and Queen, I just feel like they deserved a more honest movie.
To be honest, I don't know if I could have handled a more honest movie. Like the hinting at his loneliness and his sadness that he had to deal with, the darkness he had to deal with. It just, oh my gosh, I'd be bawling my eyes out if it went even more into it.
It was just so like hinting, but in like hinting in the same way that other biopics have hinted at their, main people's troubles, because it almost makes that hinting, it makes it come across like all of these people go through the same things, or kind of experience the same sort of isolation or lonely, things like that. And I just think it needed to just a little bit more to make it unique and truly, Freddie's struggle or truly the band's struggle.
Maybe I can definitely see that. And I think they should have. Don't get me wrong. I think that there's a missed opportunity here to have just this truly like unique, awe-inspiring film about this super creative person in our history. It's just, I don't know. It just seems so sad. I think Rami Malek's performance was so expressive enough in his eyes and his demeanor
that's undeniable.
That sure. I felt like on the base storyline, it plays it really safe, but I feel like he gave it another layer that maybe I read more into.
Oh, definitely.
Because he did so well at it.
No, he was like, this is my big shot. I am playing Freddie Mercury.
I was saying this in the review that I did on the written review, that when it comes to Malek, like he really didn't have a lot of meaty material to go off of. So the fact that he pulled off a performance like this so well just shows like how good of a job he does in the movie. Like he does a very good job given. Yeah,
he's probably like, well, it's a little unfortunate that we're not gonna really get too deep of a dive into this character, because that's what I would like to do as an actor. But let's make the most of what I have.
And I think he did,
and I think he still had a blast making it in general. So I mean, source material or not, of how good it is, like he definitely had a good time making it. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad movie by any means. It's just a missed opportunity, and it leaves me wondering what could have been.
I know that you did have some issues with some of the creative manipulation of timelines.
Yeah.
For dramatic effects.
again, with a lot of these movies, you're never going to be able to escape all inaccuracies. But when you move Freddy's like AIDS diagnosis over 2 years in advance, so that it, for the sole purpose of making that Live Aid concert more emotionally, invested.
Stimulating.
Yeah, that comes across as just like you don't really
A tad too far.
like they put that initial like, okay, we want this scene to hit really hard. They put that in front of Freddy's,
Yeah.
death, kind of. Like, I don't know. That just was kind of it felt wrong. But
Yeah.
And that's interesting because
that's really the only thing I had an actual issue with. Yeah, they condensed a whole lot and simplified and changed other things, but that's just basic. Like, it's a movie,
and coming from someone that's not the biggest Freddie Mercury or Queen fan, like the music, but you never like were the biggest fan of theirs. Like that's saying a lot, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just feel like that's. I just feel like that's not a very, I don't know, good thing to do. Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
because the Live Aid performance is already one of the most memorable moments in like music history.
Yeah,
and it would have played just as strong.
I could. Yeah,
and then,
I agree.
I don't know.
And then had the emotional payoff at the end. Like he can come back together with his band, have this amazing concert.
Yeah.
And then have his diagnosis and know that that's probably not going to ever happen again. Glad we did it when we did it.
I just think they took the AIDS diagnosis and got rid of all of the, incredibly sad and, things that it brought with it to make it just a convenient plot point to bring the band back together.
Yeah.
And put on their legendary show. So that was just a little like, okay, that you didn't have to do that.
No, I agree. That's just a little.
But I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to read into it or know that. So in the
crowd pleaser.
Yep. Crowd pleaser. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Thank you.
I didn't have as much problem with it, although I think that the more emotional payoff would have been to have had the diagnosis happen afterwards.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because the Live Aid performance is the climax of the movie.
Right.
There's nowhere to go after.
But you could still have the climax and then hit hard rock bottom.
Yeah.
Like crash.
Yeah. Isn't this really sad? Because that's how it actually was.
Would that make it a crowd pleaser?
It'd be a major.
It'd
probably be a major downer.
Oh, it definitely would.
Or, I mean, you could have even just.
It was still sad.
Everybody knows. Well, not everybody, but it's like, rock and roll pop cultural knowledge that Freddie Mercury died from complications due to AIDS.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of knows that going in. They're like, oh, yeah, isn't he the.
So when will
did
that
he die
happen?
from AIDS?
Yeah.
So you can have this big, epic, legendary Live Aid thing, and then, like, all these movies, once it goes black and the white font comes up, then, you kind of just say what happened.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah,
I can see them wanting to end on a more positive note than the super tragic, sad ending.
Or even just as the Live Aid thing's playing, just have the kind of font come up. So then you have this juxtaposition. You see this legendary musician belting his heart out with these incredibly timeless songs, and you just see this really, sad reality on the bottom. Something like that I feel like would have worked a lot better.
You know what I did really appreciate? They didn't play one song. They didn't really play one song twice. It was.
Yo, you don't need to. You got so much to work with.
No, it was. I think they played "We Are the Champions" twice, maybe for
Probably.
the Live Aid one. But besides that, they didn't play any one song twice. And I know that that is something that bothered me about Stars Born is they just played the same songs over and over and over again. It was like, I get it, those are their songs that are making them happy, but they can't do anything else.
This guy has a career for as long as he did.
Yeah,
he's got to have at least a couple more hits, right?
Right, something.
No, that is good because a huge thing going into this, I was wondering how much they would use Queen songs as like a crutch.
I don't think they used them as a crutch, but
no,
they definitely used them
don't.
as like signposts on the trail.
Absolutely.
And they really used them strategically to frame the context.
But I mean, like, if you're making a movie about Queen, who's not going to do that?
Yeah.
You're not going to not feature these songs.
They were all good. I was just so excited. They were just so good. I was like, yeah, I love the music. I could have just closed my eyes and listened.
Yeah.
The whole time. It was that good. Anyways, I think it'll do well.
It's already doing well.
Yeah.
I mean,
It opened bigger than I thought it would, really.
Yeah, I think bigger than most people expected.
I think given the critics kind of bashing it and the lower score in Rotten Tomatoes, I'm glad to see it triumph against that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Queen. I think Queen was bigger than the critics.
Oh yeah, there's no
Yeah.
competition.
So I mean, the
Queen
number
is
the
big-
number is surprising,
Queen-
but good for them.
When it comes to Queen versus a Rotten Tomatoes number,
Yeah.
I feel like Queen's probably gonna win.
Go ahead, Freddie.
Yeah.
No, good. Yeah, good for Bohemian for sure.
So you think this film will put Rami Malek in the best actor?
I think it could.
I think he has an outside chance.
Of
I started. I
at least
forget. I
being
think it was on
nominated.
Hollywood
Yes,
Reporter
outside
or something.
chance of being nominated.
I think it was on Hollywood Reporter or something. I saw like the first of what I'm sure are going to be many official Oscar prediction articles
Oh, they're
coming
finally
out.
doing those now.
Yeah, they have like the front or like surefire hits or front runners, then major threats, then dark horses, things like that.
I would call Raimi a dark horse. Then again, I still have to see more movies, but
I don't know.
due to the reception of Bohemian and between that and his performance, I'm gonna guess that he's a dark horse.
Biopics where the main actor plays a very famous person almost always, make it out. I mean, maybe he won't win.
True, but it's not.
They get the
artsy
nomination.
biopic.
Do you think
Neither was Theory of Everything, and he
You
ended
don't
up
think
winning.
that's an artsy biopic?
Theory of Everything and
Really?
Imitation Game are like as basic biopics as you can get.
Oh, I might disagree with you on Theory of Everything, but then again, I really did enjoy.
I thought Theory of Everything was
that
a
movie.
great movie.
It
A
is,
lot better than
yeah.
Imitation Game, but no,
I'll give you that.
there wasn't anything risky or different about it to me.
That's fair. That's fair. What were you saying, Cody?
Do you think given the Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury or Bradley Cooper in a third remake of A Star Is Born?
I mean, I just think it's funny. Everybody's comparing these because they're
Yeah.
about musicians.
They are? I'm joking. It's a bad joke. Keep going.
No, everybody just seems to independently feel like they have to compare the
Right.
two
Yeah.
movies.
That
this
being
is
said,
If one were to get the nomination slot, it would probably be.
Bradley Cooper.
I actually think it would be Rami.
Rami, yeah.
Well,
Really?
I don't know.
I know.
I
It's
don't
hard.
know.
I think they'll both get the
Bradley
nomination.
Cooper's got that
Wow, you think both of them?
Sam Elliott drawl.
I think.
And he
I
learned
think
to
Cooper.
sing.
I think Cooper.
And he
may
plays
have
an
locked it in.
alcoholic
Yeah, probably.
in like this really realistic alcoholic way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I think Cooper has already locked up a spot, and I think Malik is a dark
I
horse.
don't know if this is fair, but I wonder if Cooper's performance feels better, like feels more legitimate, or feels like it's a little slightly ahead because it was rated R, and they could be a little bit more realistic.
I mean, I feel
I
like
wonder if
that,
the
yeah.
rating held Rami Malek's back, because then they could have had scenes with drugs and maybe more like
I just think. I
sex
think
stuff in
Cooper's
it.
A Star Is Born was just the better made film. As
Oh,
well
it's
as
definitely a better
performance.
movie.
That's coming from me personally. I
It's
can't
hard to
speak
tell
for
these things
others.
because the Academy sometimes look at just that, but sometimes you can't help but know
They'll
that
look at the
they're
politics of
they're
things.
looking like, well, Bradley Cooper was not only the actor, but he directed
Directed,
it
he
and
wrote
he
the
co-wrote
songs.
it, and yeah, he was involved in all of
And
this.
he
So
learned to
naturally,
sing
that means
for
his
it.
acting performance
Remember
is
when
better.
Rami Malek was the knight of the museum? Ugh,
That's not art.
that's not art.
He's
yeah,
coming from TV.
Yeah.
Though,
Isn't that
though he is good
robot?
on the show? That
Yeah.
robot
He played a
show,
robot.
Sir Robot, or whatever it's called. He
But
is
yeah,
good
I
on
mean,
that
if
show,
I were to compare the two, I would probably say Bradley Cooper now.
Right. I kind
Going
of
back
I
and
always
forth.
in my mind think about like the Academy, and they're like, okay, we've got some musician films this year, and these are our best performances. We got some old man performances between Clint Eastwood and Robert Redford and
Nick Nolte now.
yeah,
probably.
Nick Nolte is gonna so it's like which old
Like, okay,
man?
yeah, which one are we going to give the old man
Right. The
nomination
sad old
slot?
man. Which
Which
one?
one are we going to give the depressed, troubled musicians
So
slot?
I think Nick Nolte's gonna come ahead in the old man category.
Really, you think?
Yeah.
Real-
I think this is
against
because
Robert Redford,
You
and
can't
Clint
beat
Eastwood.
Alzheimer's.
no, and
Julianne
I think,
Moore
But
won an acting award when she played
and
somebody
I
with
think
Alzheimer's.
that
Really?
people tend to give a little extra like oomph to an actor when they break
Are you saying-
outside their normal what perception of their acting ability
Are you
is.
saying Nolte could get a supporting actor or
He looks like the lead
Lead
actor in that
actor.
movie.
I think
Again, this
he could
goes
be a
back to
lead- yeah.
apparently is
The
whatever the movie
politics of
the studio decides to
the campaigns?
campaign
yeah.
him for.
He might be a supporting actor, but then he would be going up against Krasinski and Quiet Place, and I don't know. It's just
Could be going up against Sam Elliott, another
Yeah.
older.
Ooh,
man.
that's a good old man
Oh.
slot. That it's also kind of a musician slot
Right.
too.
I
That's
mean,
like
Green Book has
2 in 1.
might have some supporting actor nominations
Vigo.
possible too. Like that already fills up some of those spots.
Green Book. Yeah, I just
We're like in the actual
Nick
start
Nolte,
of
now that's a dark
award
horse.
season movies now.
I'm
That's
I
a
don't
dark
think
horse
it's a
pick.
dark horse.
Just with
mean-
the stuff that's about to come out, I won't be shocked if I
I'm
won't be
telling
shocked
you.
if he's
that trailer
wait, what
was
am I
so
trying to say? I don't
amazing.
know.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like there was an authenticity to that performance in that trailer. Like just the way his handwriting, you could see it go downhill, and yeah, I think that's going to be a performance to watch.
I do think it depends on if critics respond well to the film.
Yeah,
That'll
like
Yeah,
help
I mean they did the
boost it.
first time the director made it.
True.
3
and
years
it's
ago.
just the same guy's coming back. Like he could probably do it again.
And
so
then
that'll
Maybe.
help.
Clint Eastwood is just being an old man and that kind of like gritty
Clint
old
Eastwood,
man role he
I
does.
don't even want to try and speculate because
Yeah.
that trailer is all we have to go on.
True.
And I wasn't
But you
necessarily thinking about Clint Eastwood's performance in that trailer. I was just looking at the movie,
That's
just
fair.
watching the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, Head Full of Honey, I'm watching, I'm like, okay, this is totally Nick Nolte's like
I know
best
I know
actor in movie.
The Old Man and the Gun
Mm-hmm.
is not getting a lot of buzz just because it's just such a small film in general. But I think the fact
Yeah, I
that
mean,
it's
the people
Robert
who-
Redford and
It has a very
I could see him getting the
enthusiastic
lead actor
reception, but I mean,
nomination.
it's just by nature of the movie. It's not like this big multiplex filling blockbuster.
oh, for sure, yeah. I'm also talking about in terms of like Oscar buzz. Like I don't think Old Man and the Gun is getting its due, but I won't be shocked at all if it comes back into the question.
Yeah,
and people
I mean,
lean
I
towards
just-
Robert Redford.
That
for lead
article I saw
actor.
today was the first of these Oscar buzz things I've seen.
Yeah,
So
it could always be changing too, but just based on what's been going on so far.
that article in this podcast. We got our thumb on it.
oh yeah,
We know all the ins and
Thumb
outs.
on the pulse.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm going to be really excited to see how it progresses. But at this point, given what's coming out, I kind of feel like those are some strong contenders.
yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Malik should be considered, but I just feel like in the end he'll just be a dark
I
horse
think
candidate.
Fox will really push it. They don't have anything else. It'll be
Yeah.
like their end of the
They're like, okay,
They're-
we're
Yeah.
over next year.
He'll
Let's
still
Yep,
be
just
their end of
fresh
their
in
run.
everyone's
let's give
mind.
everything we have left behind this guy.
Yeah,
I think that's why they
Pretty
went so
recent.
wide with it. They're just really trying to get it out there, and it would be nice to score one for the team for them before they have to disband.
before their final
so
send off.
sad. Oh man,
It's all on you, Malik. No pressure.
send us out with a bang.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got looking forward this week. We've got Grinch on Thursday. I'm so excited. Taking my son. Can't
That'll
wait.
be a fun date.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so fun. I
Yeah.
usually take him to matinees, so this will be our first kind of like evening show.
Oh, are you
Ooh.
gonna take him to like first opening?
Yeah. Well, I'm doing the Thursday early show with him.
What is that for them? Like 5?
I think it's like
Grinch, I thought it was
6.
6. I think
I
it's
think
6.
Is
it's
it 5 or
6.
6? Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So it'll be a little later. We'll go home and have
That'll be a fun
dinner.
time.
An hour later, I know I'll be seeing Overlord.
Oh, yeah.
most likely,
Yes.
and
Do
then
it.
I'll try to get around to Girl in the Spider's Web.
Yeah, both
Yeah,
of those
I'll
are
be
coming
seeing-
out. I don't have any desire.
You don't
want
wanna
to
take
either
your
one of
sons to those?
No,
Let's do a double feature.
I don't even want to take myself to one of those. So
No, I'm
I
excited
will
for Overlord.
Have you guys go.
I feel like I just have to see Spider's Web and compare it to the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've never I think I would see Girl in the Spider's Web before I saw Overlord. I've never seen any of the other ones. So
They're
I
pretty-
would
pretty heavy
feel like
movies.
I really wouldn't know what I'm really watching.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah,
hadn't seen the other ones, like those
probably.
might actually be movies where you should see the other ones first.
maybe. This one seems a
Overlord-
little
oh.
bit more like about her origin, though. So that's kind of interesting.
And Overlord is going to be for such a niche crowd that it's anyone's game to how well it could do.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know
there
if
could be a-
Overlord, you know if Overlord's for you. You know, like
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
it
there
is
could be a
not
small
for me.
crowd, or there could be a big crowd just on the WTF situation.
no, I feel
of
like
it
it'll be
all.
a small group of people who love, just kind of those more grisly movie. They're gonna the people who go to see it are gonna laugh and cheer and just think people aren't gonna go there to get scared. I don't think people are gonna go there
Could.
to just.
They
Well, I'm
could,
sure, but
yeah.
that's
But
that doesn't seem to be the tone the movie has to me.
Right.
It's kind of
It's
just
not
like an
straightforward.
over the top, absurd. Just
It is very
action.
Why don't we
Fast.
mash Nazis with science fiction, with horror,
Zombies.
with
Zombies,
medical experiments?
ah,
Yeah.
those noises.
It's like, of course.
Yeah, what I saw from CinemaCon last year was enough in my mind. Like it is burned in my brain. That scene of the
man,
head of
I'm
the
excited.
head and the spinal cord, and it's talking. Ugh.
Well, I don't know if that was in the trailer. I forget.
No, it wasn't in the trailer.
I want to see it.
And she turns and she's like, "Help me!" But she's just a head. She doesn't realize.
I want to see
I'm
that.
sold.
That sounds awesome.
That does sound really cool.
Oh, that's
Anyway,
enough for
have
me.
fun at the Grinch.
I will.
It'll be
I
a
will
treat.
have fun. Yes, Eric doesn't want to see the Grinch. He thinks that he's too big
It's
for
for
Grinch
babies.
movies.
Don't think
He's
that.
not even going to take his mommy to it.
I think it's cool that Benedict
I mean-
Cumberbatch is voicing him, but
That is pretty cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know the story of the Grinch.
I would probably just wait.
You're not going to take your mommy either?
No,
Oh. What kind of
Sorry.
sons are you?
I.
You're taking
I don't
you're
think she'll
okay
wanna
because
go
you're
see
going
it.
to take her to Mary Poppins.
Oh yeah,
You're
like
still
we
in the
planned
doghouse
this
a little
out
bit.
like a year in advance. Like we're good. We're good on that.
Yeah. He's good. He's got one in the bag already.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting brownie points down the road.
Woohoo.
So, anyways, excited.
Yes.
We'll have to let you know how it is.
There'll be some interesting movies this week for sure.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Take care, everyone.
Wait.
Oh yeah, they're remake.
wait.
There might be rebooting
Oh.
Shrek.
We might be rebooting Shrek.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about there.
They're rebooting Shrek.
Maybe they want to. They want to make more money from that guy.
Is
Yeah,
it
but I just don't
Illumination
see-
Studios that's doing it?
I don't.
Is that what they
it's
said?
it's
Is it going to be animated?
his name is Chris Menendandri or
Shit,
whatever
that's
his name
live
is.
action.
That's Illumination.
Did they
head
do
of it.
Sing?
Yes.
Yeah, the guy who's worked
Chris
on Sing.
Meledandri.
Yeah, he's. I mean, again, this isn't really. It's a big. The different publications make this out to be more of a story than it probably is, but basically, Universal is eyeing the Shrek franchise and Puss in Boots to reboot them, but that's really
We'll
it.
see.
This guy, Chris, the Illumination guy's like, hey, I would do that, and Universal's like, cool. We'll let you know if anything else happens.
Well, Illumination is part of like Universal.
Yeah.
It's their
No, I mean,
sister studio, and I could see him doing it because I think Illumination could bring it fits better with like Illumination than it would with Disney animation,
yeah.
just in tone and like the more adult
Well, that's
jokes
the one thing I
and
wonder
stuff.
about.
Why would
'Cause
Disney have Shrek?
ideally,
No, I'm just saying like if you were gonna have a current digital animated studio do it, Illumination would be a much better fit right now.
DreamWorks?
I mean, they the ones who did it.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
you could do that too. But I get what you mean. I get
Yeah.
what you're saying.
No, I mean, the idea right now, according to this guy, is he would like to have the original voice cast come back.
Because you can't have Shrek without Mike Myers.
no.
I just don't.
No.
Yeah, it's just
Anything
one of
less
those
than
roles.
him would be weird.
Kind of like that Pirates thing with Johnny Depp, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes back to
There are
that
some
same
things that you
conversation.
can kind of get away with rebooting. There's some things where the character and the person who portrayed that character are like one and the same.
Yeah,
I
and
think-
pretty much everyone on that cast is
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think they would have to do. They could do another ogre story, maybe like Shrek and Fiona's children,
Yeah, but
and
that'd
just
be
have
dumb.
a different story altogether. But they can't have the original characters.
Yeah, so they're waiting right now on good story ideas. So if they ever come up with one of those, and
Yeah,
Mike
If they-
Myers and Eddie Murphy and Antonio Banderas,
If they
and
can top the story
all
of
these
Shrek
people-
4, which is just out there bananas, then by all means, like, go for it. But
Cameron Diaz, how's the other voice?
But,
I mean,
you
if
know,
if
okay,
all of those
sure.
people want to come back, like, yeah, we think Shrek 5 would be a really great idea, then maybe it'll happen. But right now, it's an idea that Universal's kind of passing around.
I think Shrek's too new. Just what, like only
Just
10
the
years
same
old?
age as, I think, 1 year older than Pirates of the Caribbean.
Too
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
20 years.
I did when I did see the headline though, like I did get a little bit more of an understanding to how you felt with the Clueless situation. I got it a little bit more, but it still wasn't like totally devastating. It was just more on the fact of like
Makes you feel old.
why. It just goes back to the conversation.
Yeah, it
Why?
makes you feel old. You see that and like, wait, no. It's like, sorry,
not old
dude,
enough yet.
we got to remake this for the kids now. It's like, no, I'm still a kid.
But we
Yeah.
got that.
Just show them that.
Just show them that.
That's the real one.
Yeah. So
Just put it back in theaters.
yeah, but it just goes back to the same question of why.
Passage of
Are
time.
they gonna have Smash Mouth do the?
That's what everybody on like the subreddit was saying.
Oh,
like,
you
Right.
like just hire Smash Mouth to curate the whole soundtrack like Kendrick Lamar did with Black Panther.
Yeah.
yeah. That would be something. I would be happy.
Oh, I
I would-
unironically love the Smash Mouth songs from
Yeah.
the Shrek movies.
That's so
I'll
funny.
never listen to them not while also watching Shrek, but when they
True.
come on during Shrek, I'm like, okay, I love this. Genuinely.
I had some friends
I'm
that
pretty
had
sure I saw Smash Mouth at a Warped tour. And like Mighty Mighty
Oh,
Boss
man.
But they had-
Tones and
but they had pictures of Shrek flash in the background for you to be like, oh yeah, those guys.
no, I just knew who they were.
I do.
Sum 41. Oh my gosh, taking me
No
back.
way, Smash Mouth is gonna have songs in Shrek. I love them.
Oh, so sad. I
So,
loved
yeah,
Warped
that was-
tours though. They were fun. We don't get much concerts out here.
No,
Warped Tour was like, yes.
Yeah, so that was just like the big one,
Yeah.
this is where the cool kids go.
Yeah. I
probably.
used to have Warped Tour stickers on my car.
I wasn't cool enough for that.
You weren't old enough, probably.
That
Either
played a
that-
big part in it as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, probably. Cool. Well, yeah, that was the last story.
Yeah,
Maybe
anyway.
rebooting Shrek.
Had to
Is
give
that
the
a good
audience
idea?
what they
Who
asked
knows?
for. If there is a Shrek reboot, and there is.
We don't know that.
Well, they're trying to.
There will be. But
They're talking.
it's not official yet.
There
Let's
will be.
Let's give it a few more years
Yeah.
before we. I did like Mike Myers though, just on the side in as the producer.
Oh, in
He's all,
Bohemian.
like all sweaty and all frustrated, like
I liked
who are
seeing
these guys?
Mike Myers' face on screen again.
I did too.
I think
I think that's why I
That's
liked
probably,
it so
yeah,
much.
that was probably the extent of it.
Myers clearly knew what character he was playing.
Yeah,
But
he's
he
like,
still
yeah, I'll
was
show,
like,
I'll show
yeah,
up for an
sure.
afternoon.
It just looked
Yeah.
frustrated and like stuck. Like I just have to go along with these queens.
Yeah, like he was
He's probably just channeling his frustration that
Yeah.
they might be rebooting Shrek.
really though.
He's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, he was on the Stephen
Oh,
Colbert.
now I just found out about. Now I have to go film Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh my god.
He was on the Stephen Colbert show a couple of days ago, and he was talking about how like, yeah, the character I play, not a real producer, but he was a producer. And I just decided to do it and showed up. Yeah. So here's a clip of it, and from there you're just like, okay, he knows what he's doing. He knows what
He
character this
seems
is.
really enthusiastic about this.
I mean, he actually did.
He's a
sound
nice
more
guy, I'm sure.
enthusiastic
So he's
about
not
it,
going to
but-
be like, yeah, I don't really care.
I don't
Yeah.
think he's really enthusiastic about anything anymore.
Kind of gives me like a Bill Murray vibe. People like love Bill Murray, but I feel like he's kind of just a cranky, impatient old man.
Yeah,
Oh, I
he's
don't
like,
get that
I
vibe from him.
found my success. I don't need to work anymore.
Yeah,
And
that's what John Carpenter's like.
Oh, I don't get that vibe at all. I think Myers is making documentaries nowadays. Actually,
What was he just
think
in?
so.
Again, I've made my money. I don't really have to work. I'm
Oh,
just
for
gonna kind
sure.
of do what I want.
I don't think he's the cranky old man type like Murray is, but
Not yet.
He's got-
maybe not yet.
I think he's
yeah.
got kids. I think he's just tired.
Yeah, he's probably like, I don't have to work again. If I'm really bored, yeah, I'll film a scene in your movie.
I'm just waiting for them to reboot Austin Powers.
I would. That's when I would. I would love a fourth Austin Powers movie so much.
He's every once in a while he pops up and he's like, could happen,
They
and then he
should-
just goes into hiding.
They should make it like Kingsman, where he's the older like Colin Firth character that's gonna bring in the new guy.
Yeah,
But then who would be the?
I would want them to start out with that idea, but then the new guy like dies.
What if the
Like
or what if
really
the new
early
guy
on,
is
and now
also-
it's just old Austin Powers having to do his thing.
What if the new guy is also played by Myers? like he does with all of his
Ooh.
characters.
No, the new guy
Oh,
should
yeah,
be
yeah.
a new lady. Only like he can't,
Ooh,
he's very confused
that'd
by
be a
this.
That'd be a topical
Yeah.
take on the
Actually,
Austin Powers movies.
It's not a bad idea. That's pretty
And
good.
then she just ends up being way worse than him.
Right, like
Yeah.
like she sexually harasses all the men.
Every
Like,
single,
everyone's
every
like, no.
single man. in the
Very
movie.
aggressive. She does not take no for an answer.
I think you're onto something.
I think we have her.
Who did Austin Powers?
What do you mean?
What
who
studio?
did?
What company?
Oh, I can look that up real fast.
Well, I just call them up and give them your
Right.
idea. Pitch
I
it to
will.
them. I think.
Well, I like it. And then it could be like really badass and she could like really kick butt.
Yeah.
But instead of going in for a handshake, she grabs something else on every guy. She meets.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of these things you could brainstorm.
Yeah.
It was New Line Cinema who distributed.
Come on, New
Sony.
Line,
I think it
Sony.
They're
and
still
Mike
around. Yeah, they're
Myers.
still
yeah,
around.
they're still
Yeah,
Needs to happen.
does.
I had to think about it.
I would like it. It'd be like
Cool.
a funny version of Kingsman, only with Mike Myers as the elder statesman.
I was thinking that character in Kingsman. That'd just be wild.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no Vern Troyer.
Oh,
Forgot
there's
about that.
not.
There's no what?
Vern Troyer. Mini-Me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's really
I
sad.
forgot that's who that
Forgot
was.
about that.
Well, that's depressing.
That's why there can never be one now.
Yeah, never mind, New Line.
Nope,
Never
no,
mind,
cancel
Sony.
that idea.
Sorry.
We don't got him. We don't got Mini-Me.
We do still have Seth Green though, so we could maybe make this
True.
work.
Maybe he just, Mini-Me
Maybe
went off
he
to the
hints that
Bahamas
Seth
and
Green
he's just
finally
living
killed
there.
Mini-Me.
And I especially hate
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Maybe that's like how they hint towards it.
So funny.
Okay. Well,
That should
yeah,
conclude our
I
show.
think that's everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll have more thoughts on the upcoming movies when we see its premieres. So
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
that'll be the next one.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Cool. See you later.